But I got it back. All right, all right. We are live. We have Councilwoman uh Vonnie. I see on Facebook. Yvonne Goodwin. I don't know. Lavanya Goodwin. I don't know if
Mhm.
you see last week I was talking about you. Did you see me?
I didn't. Was my ears should have been burning then?
I said, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. I said, but her husband is handsome. I said, he's
Yeah.
born.
Well, honey,
Right.
great minds think alike,
I
and
said,
and you'd have to be blind not to know that. So I'm
girl,
fine with that.
yeah. Okay, okay. Because I said I hadn't seen him, and I remember I seen him when you were running, and I didn't know if he was a brother. Then I seen them kissing you, and I was like, okay, Michelle and Barack Obama, I'm here for it. I am here for it, baby. I'm here for it. Yes, yes, yes. So we are. A lot of our viewers already know who you are. So I mean, you
Mhm.
are a figure in the you are a figure in the community. You are a city councilwoman, newly elected councilwoman. So congratulations, first of
Thank
all.
you so much.
Congratulations. Congratulations on that. We are proud of you. We are
I
proud that you
appreciate that.
definitely. I told you I was impressed with you and your with your debate strategies and everything like that. So, for those people who don't know who you are or may just know you just from the election, the primaries, and things like that, go ahead and reintroduce yourself and let the people know a little bit something about
Absolutely. So I am council member Lavanya Goodwin, newly elected in May of this year. My first day on the council started June 9th. And so now we are into 100 days
you.
plus. I share that same, number with our beloved Mayor John Ewing. We were the two newly elected members really to City Hall in
Mhm.
this last recent election. And so I am Omaha born and raised, Omaha Central grad, Creighton University grad, and grew up in South Omaha. By the time I was 16, my family was living here in North Omaha. I always tell people if you're wondering what Goodwin I'm related to, it's the barbershop Goodwin, meaning 24th.
The good ones. Look, the good ones.
Well, right, right. But there's so many people who are barbers and stylists in our family that it's like he's one of the OGs, and married to his youngest son, Dan Goodwin Jr. So we've been happily married for 32 years.
Oh,
Thank
congratulations.
you. We are a blended family, so we have six. Two of them I birthed, but anytime you're a mom to all.
Right.
Those who came out of your womb and the ones who haven't, and everybody on the block,
Right,
everybody in
right.
between,
Surrogate and
right?
otherwise. Yes,
Right?
yes.
Because that's how we do when we're doing it right. And so uh, it's been a lot has happened since the campaign,
Yes.
and a lot of great things. People have asked me how it's going. First of all, I pretty much every person I ran against, I've talked to.
Mhm.
Um, they
You said you were
congratulated.
going to do that, though.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
said you were going to do that.
yeah, and they congratulated me. Many said, "How can I help?" And I think that's how it's supposed to be. I think one of my favorite stories along those lines was Maurice Jones,
Mhm.
because I mean now we like literally laugh. We can like go back and laugh at just you know just kind of how it was. I
Mhm.
do like talking to him about a political strategy, because I know he pays attention to things, and he was dialed in. So that's one. I met with Ben Gray a week after the elections because I knew he had, that institutional knowledge.
Right.
And as although we haven't met since, as I've seen him in passing, he's made a point to say whatever you need, whatever you need. And so that was definitely, a plus. But since I've been elected, I've really worked hard to a couple things. Number one, no, learn the role.
Mhm.
Now, I did have the benefit of the community work that I'd done,
Mhm.
whether it was, grassroots, community gardens, cleanups. That connects you to City Hall.
Right.
And so I don't think you can ever underestimate not only what projects like that can
Mhm.
do for your community. You know, sometimes we want the big multi-million, you know, we want affordable housing tomorrow. We need those things, but what can we do today?
Right.
So championing safety, beautifying neighborhoods, and supporting small business is still part of my platform because it was the work that got me here. It was the work where people said, nah, I see you out there. Nah, you've knocked on my door. No, that corner's different. 24th Street's different. And now it's time to take that plan and extend it in to broader District 2.
Okay.
Now, something that people should know, my district runs from Harney to Carter Lake, okay, to Minnelusa. All right.
Wow.
And now in the heart of North Omaha, where I sit
Yeah.
right here on North 24th Street, all the way up 72nd and Ames, as far as Forest Lawn. So
You
it
know
is
what?
a vast district.
I did not know that. I did
Yeah.
not know that the district was that huge, that it covered that much real estate.
Yeah.
I always like to let our people know because they always just consider North Omaha like the 24th Street area and then beyond. And I have to let everybody know, remind them a lot of time, anything north of Dodge Street is North Omaha. That is the North Omaha district. But I had no idea that District 2 covered that much real estate. So,
Yeah.
wow.
It's 77,000 constituents, which is about the same for every district. So they are carved out in terms of population the same, but it definitely is a very vast group. I think it's the most diverse group.
Definitely.
And that's
Without a
because
doubt.
you've got the riverfront and,
Mhm.
condos, but then you've got the heart of some of the poorest districts
Right.
in the state, all the way to middle class. And so it's very diverse. I think we probably have every ethnic group that lives here in this district as well. And so my first 30 days, my first 100 plus days has been,
Hold on, let me stop you right there
oh,
because this is I want to get a segue into this. I want to ask you when you first walked in, your first active office, because first you're familiar with the platform and everything. You've been an activist for a number of years. You have been beautifying North Omaha for a number of years. So you kind of had your feet wet. You didn't go in there like, oh, like Donald Trump did. He didn't know a damn thing. Still don't, but just go in there like, oh. So what was your
oh no.
first day? What was your first day like when you first officially, when you got sworn in, after you got sworn in? And then your first day, your first active service, what was that like?
My first day, so number one, that council meeting was 4 hours and 59 minutes. Okay, four
Wow.
hours and 59 minutes the first day. And the only reason why that it wasn't longer is because when Amy Melton said, let's stand here for another minute, we were like, nah, we ain't doing
You
it.
said,
we
we
can't
got,
do it
but we
anymore.
got.
But I can tell you that I got such a warm welcome from that staff, from the various department heads. So there was just a lot of good energy. I'm trying to remember now, June 9th, what was on the agenda. Yes, the Poverty Elimination Act. We ended up being, so there's several phases to items on the agenda. I believe we heard that public, hearing that day.
Thank you.
But we were also being briefed on that initiative prior to going into council. So like your day starts at 8:30 and it can run till council ends. It's back to back to back to back of committee meetings and people who want to meet with you. But that first council was some pretty high level things that are important to this community, like that poverty elimination. Really was the plan. And one of the reasons, I know our colleagues said, well, why are you voting for a a plan that doesn't have any line items on the budget. And it was simple because there's a lot of initiatives and programs that the city has or their partners have that can be elevated today. It doesn't require creating something new, doesn't require hiring somebody new, but it requires getting the information out to the people who need it. So when I heard about the poverty elimination plan, one of the things I learned is there were resources at the city for like MUD. I didn't know that in the past,
Right.
and so it's like some of these things you could close the gap, keep someone housed. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's that one utility bill. If I can get that paid, it's going
Right.
to keep me afloat till that next month.
Exactly.
So that was the energy behind that act. Prior to that first meeting, though, everyone, you had to vote for your president, your vice president, okay? And that's where behind the scenes you're getting phone calls from your colleagues,
Who you vote for, Bonnie?
Exactly. Here's why I think we should do A, B, and C.
Right.
So I love that kind of stuff, especially when, people are still at the end of the day, regardless of how it goes, they're going to be professional. You know what I'm saying? They're going to still show that respect. So, we had several major items on that agenda in our first day of council. Some of them, it was our council, again, the public hearing. I don't know that we voted on anything at that council meeting. Sitting there, and especially with a professional face when you get those characters. Because people expect a certain decorum.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I would tell you, I hate missing a good laugh. I'm that person that will laugh loud, elbow the person next to me, slap them. So now I'm sitting here, I'm like, I can't believe
You're like,
I can't believe this is happening, right? And there were a few people who prior to me running, I said, do not sit in that legislative chamber and give me eye contact when something goes wrong, because I cannot afford, again, to just lose it. Because, I think all of us know, if we've been to the council, we've got some of those people who might be a little animated. So that was okay. I can't believe I've actually sat here for 5 hours,
Right.
You learn the roll call and all of that. And like I said, everything's not a vote. You learn when there's an amendment to the whole, just some of that procedures. Now, many of that is Robert's rules. So if you've sat on a board before, it may not be as unfamiliar, but you start learning the ropes. We had a new president, Danny Begley, and so he was learning the ropes, although he had been on the council before. So I don't think if anybody realized this, but I'm the only new member of the council.
Okay.
I'm one of 2 females, and I'm only the person of color. I'm the only Black person on the council. So, how
does that feel? Because I've been in a position in a room where, and I know this was one of the things that we asked, because sometimes people feel smaller, especially African American and people of color, when they are the only minority in the room. And sometimes they feel like they have to be smaller to make other people look larger. And I just don't get that intimidating factor from you. And I remember when you answered the question, you was like, I will stand tall regardless of what room I'm in. But realistically, now that you are that only minority in the room, how does that feel?
I think in many times in my life, I have been that. And I do think there's a message that if I could reiterate to this generation, and not that I'm necessarily saying this regarding any of my current colleagues, but we were always taught to be better. We were always taught to show up. We were always taught to don't be intimidated, But, the other thing I also say, there are no stupid questions. We have a team there for a reason. We have legal counsel. We have expert department heads. So, it's no reason for me to feel like I can't ask a question. But then, you know what? No one can tell me. They can't tell me my lived experience.
Right.
They can't tell me too much about North Omaha because
Right.
I mean, just entrenched. But I will say this: something that they all said to me was they realize um, the condition of parts of this district and why there should be a specific focus on it. Now, whether they vote that way all the time,
Uh-huh.
you know,
Right.
but best believe um, I'm there for the entire district. But where there's a need, I'll partner with not only my constituents but also other city council staff to see that the opportunities realized for our district. But I would say for the most part, of course, I think sometimes I observe, yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
the only woman,
Sponge.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I observe that, I'm the only minority, but you come with your facts, you ask questions
Right.
if you need to, and listen, you also kindly push back on narratives. And
Right.
y'all saw that
I
with
know
the
you good at that.
listen, if I strongly believe it, and generally what I believe, I feel is based on facts. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you're not moving me from that. And just because that's just who I am,
Right.
right? And so one of the things we've already done, you saw it with the DEI.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Um, and it was like, this is about principle because we know what that wording really means. Now,
Exactly.
it's interesting because you also learned to have a really thick skin. I got an email where someone told me that I was a racist because I voted to not remove that language. And, I didn't even go there because I thought, really? It's
Some things aren't even worth your time or energy.
exactly.
You just be like, okay, well, I don't have time for that. But I do want to shout out you. It says finally improvement in 50 years for our community. Karen Curry said that. John Gould said, I want to express my deepest appreciation to Sister Goodwin for helping our community grow. Um, Sister Johnson is in Las Vegas watching. Got a couple of people on here. Just like I can't shout y'all out if y'all don't say anything because I don't constantly just look who jumps in. I know my sister Yvette Turner is on here. She said something earlier. She said hello to you. Congratulations.
Hello. Thank you
Um,
so much, guys.
one of the biggest questions that we want to know is how long did it take you to pick your outfit out on the first day for your appearance? Was you like, did you have your husband help? Did you call your sister? Did you say, what should I wear? What was that?
That's
Because
funny.
hey, I used to do that when I went to work. I used to be like, okay, when's the last time I wore this? Okay, this is
Right.
Wednesday. What do y'all want to look like on Wednesday? So how did you pick your first outfit out and who helped you do it?
Well, I will tell you one. So if I think about inauguration day, and y'all remember that red suit,
I remember.
I decided that, yeah, I'm gonna wear red because this is what I want to wear. I didn't think through it. Usually I'm that person like, okay, what's appropriate. And I do think there's a point of being appropriate, but I did. I tried that suit on. I had a couple new suits. Tried that one on. Tried a couple different blouses on with it. Had to walk around. My husband always, he might have ulterior motives, but he usually wants to see me in my heels with it. I need to see you with the heels on.
Right.
He is more of a complete picture guy, so that might have been part of that. But it was like, this is what I feel comfortable in. This is what I do feel powerful in.
Right.
Now with the hair, this was my brother-in-law. He was like, "Oh, you need a new look." My brother-in-law, David Newsom, he's the
Yes.
stylist of the
I know
stylists
him.
here in
Has been the
Omaha.
stylist for years.
Absolutely. He was
The
like,
business. David is the business.
no, yeah, you need a new look. You need a new look.
I know you're giving the Christian version of that because I know David, so I know he had a few more adjectives than you're allowed to convey over the airways.
Yeah, and so but that's the fun part, right? Because the hard part was like knocking doors when it was drizzling, walking up steps in Bemis Park. We didn't get a lot of negative people when we knocked on doors. I think that also renewed my faith in people.
Mhm.
that, because you think about what you hear on the news, you think about,
Right.
like going into a neighborhood that you might not be as familiar with. And then
Mhm.
it does take pause in 2025 with all
It
that.
definitely does.
But people were either glad you stopped by, or if they didn't, some said, you know what, I'm not interested. And that was not very many.
Hmm.
And really only one real nasty person sent an email like, why did you put a door hanger on my door when I said no soliciting? And I think it was one of our campaign people. And I thought, and he was very nasty about it. And I thought, come on,
Yeah.
didn't nobody,
Just take it off and throw it away.
yeah,
And just as
exactly. So, but
just as simple as that.
that part it restored my faith in people. But I do think about, when I back to the wardrobe thing, I'm still trying to get my whole makeup down because I can't stand the way. I love, I love those sound bites that you might get on the news, but I'm like, man, they get in so close. Like, I
Yeah.
need to, that kind of piece, like that whole camera ready piece.
Yes,
And then
ma'am.
when you're sitting there for 2 and 3 hours, it's like, you're trying to be
The stepper wife. Look, the stepper wife.
exactly. You just try to make it happen. So that's an adjustment, but that's a minor adjustment, I think, to the entire piece of it. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I definitely appreciate that. You said earlier in the show you've been married for over 30 years. So, congratulations. That
Thank
is a
you.
huge, huge accomplishment in this day and age. So, we know like behind every good man is a good woman, but I'm going to tell you, behind every politician who has a spouse is an extra strong spouse, because not only do they have to run around with you, do all of this supporting, get out here and do the work for you, they also have to, in this day and age, back in the day, they didn't have this, but with social media, read everything people are saying about you, try to keep their composure and everything like that. So, how was the whole campaigning and the realization once you got elected, you were the a winner by a nice number? How was that? How was that on the family period, not just the spouse, the family period?
So that's a great question, Chantel, and I can tell you, we took 5 years of prayer, of those back and forth conversations. Anytime you do a big move
Mm-hmm.
in a family, whether it's, oh, I'm gonna change jobs, oh, I'm gonna buy a new house, I'm gonna leave this neighborhood. Most people don't just do those things
Right.
lickety splitting, especially when you run a campaign. So I can't thank my husband, Danny, enough for his support. Um, I can't thank my daughter, Laisha, enough for her being there every time she could. The support of extended families like the Newsons, like Lisa Lindsay. The family stepped up big time, and in various moments and times made a huge difference. So I got to make that shout out there. But I think that even prior to running, you know, I had, maybe like, our champ Bud Crawford had developed a chin, if you
Mm-hmm.
will,
Yeah.
where it's like, nah, you don't really want to take a punch,
Right.
but you learn how to deal with it. I will tell you, I some things you have to learn to ignore.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said with, the statement that when you argue with a fool, nobody knows who the fool is.
Exactly.
So there's sometimes when, as much as you want to give an answer, you're thinking, okay, is this person really just, do they want an answer?
Or do they want to fight?
Do they want to fight?
Yeah.
Right? Do they want to come together? Or do they want to keep polarizing? And I think in this moment, especially with our newly elected mayor, and although, no, I don't just represent the Black community, I do think that we need to think about how we show up.
Mm-hmm.
Because, when people tell me, oh, I'm so glad you won, and I'm so proud, and believe me, I'm thankful for that.
Mm-hmm.
They say, I can't wait to see what you will do. And I say, I can't wait to see what we will do
Right.
together.
Right.
Okay. Uh, I'm one person. And so with 77,000 constituents, there's no way that I can reach every person or know every issue, right? As much as we talk about beautifying neighborhoods, I personally can't beautify every neighborhood, but
Mm-hmm.
we can galvanize people to work together. And so I really hope that this city realizes the blessing we have, one, in a mayor who has truly served. When he said he served the community for 43 years, and just through the time we've been in office together, clearly I meet with him once a month just because there's so much to
Mm-hmm.
work on. And then I hear the different aspects of all the things he's done, not for a showpiece, but it has gained knowledge and service and care.
Right.
We now have to help amplify who's coming up in the reins. Notice you don't see a lot of clapping back on that end.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of work and diligence. So
Right.
how do we build that up in our neighborhoods to where we're not simply going from outrage to outrage, but we're looking at strategically how we now take advantage of this opportunity? I know you started the question around family, but part of that is my family serves with me. We serve together,
Right.
meaning not simply in office, but it's like, okay, what we doing this weekend? Like, okay, you got this. And usually it's not just showing up for the photo optic, but it's the work.
Right.
So now, how do we duplicate that? How do we inspire other people to get involved in a very basic way? Because it's really what's going to transform our community.
And that's really important about getting people involved. And I'm glad that you said that, because I want my listeners to know, being involved. And I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been involved as much. I was involved a lot locally. I haven't been going. I've been getting invitations, on the national political realm, but I haven't been involved. It's just so just is just takes so much out of you. I'm not gonna lie. It was mentally draining, and just after the election, I was just drained. I couldn't believe
Yeah,
the outcome. I was just drained. So the victory with you and Mayor Ewing, just definitely that gave me some more energy and just said, okay, we gotta, I gotta do what I've been doing, trying to get these people to know how important it is to vote, because the way that things are going now, it gives everybody the reason to say, well, why would I mean, we have a tyrant in office. Why would I what do I need to vote for? We have to stop that mentality right there, because even though they're doing your vote counts, and how you know your vote counts is because they're trying to suppress it so damn hard.
yeah.
It's crazy. They're trying to redistrict the voting because they want their people in office so that they can be in control. We have to, our parents, I mean, our great grandparents, our forefathers, foremothers, died for us to have this privilege. I mean, died for us.
Absolutely.
And so this is something that we have to just, we got to pay homage to them by saying, okay, well, I'm a vote. And it don't, I mean, you can vote from home. And for people
Right.
to have that mentality, oh, well, I ain't voting, it ain't gonna make no difference. It definitely isn't gonna make a difference if you don't vote. That's what I know for sure.
Well, and I also think this in Omaha, none of us can say that. Guess why? Because we're the blue dot for a reason.
Right.
So
Exactly.
actually, like, can nobody really legitimate say that in Omaha, Nebraska, or the greater, congressional districts, right?
Mhm.
Because our vote does count in a very different way than
Yes.
it does across the nation. And so I think that's the point we push. But I also think the push that all politics is local. Really, what we care about and what city government and even county government is focused on is your basic quality of life
Hmm.
as you open your door.
Right.
Am I going to run across 5 potholes before I get to work? Is the trash being taken out? Is the house next door safe, or is it abandoned and crumbling? Right? Is the person driving down the street, are they going to blare their music and park at the end of the block, and now I can't hear my Zoom call? I mean, which I do want to touch on. But it's quality of life, and that's local.
Right.
But then when we look at the blue dot, and they didn't pass it in our legislature, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our vote does count toward an electoral vote, unlike any other place in the nation but Maine.
Right.
So really, my vote don't count. Sorry, give me another one.
Let's say go.
Not in Omaha,
Next.
Nebraska. Right? Next.
Next.
But I also believe that our vote matters, and what happens at the local level, if we're smart and strategic, we can be insulated.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't get me wrong. I listen and watch national news every day, but what I start thinking about is, how do we prepare locally?
Right.
How do we prepare locally? You don't have so much energy for anything during the day, and as you get older, you have less. That's just what generally happens, right?
Yes.
But so how do you use the energy you have? How do you use the 24 hours you have? And what I really want to bring people from talking about the problem to actionizing the solution. And I think that sometimes we use so much energy talking about the problem. I'm a realist who walks
Mhm.
by faith, who then takes action.
Right.
And so sometimes you'll see me, if you're wondering, hey, why is Lavanya not with this group, whatever. Now, it could be just because I'm busy or whatever, but it also could be because they talk a whole lot and don't get nothing moving.
Yeah.
And so I think this is now the time to look and say, how can I help my neighborhood? How can I help my region? And I also think, how do we activate some of this young energy to take the protest, find those areas that we were passionate about, and move them into actionable items for our community? Systematic change a lot of times takes months, if not years, of legislation. And I'm not saying it's worth it, but there are some basic things we can do in District 2 to improve our quality of life. That could be simply of, hey, I'm going to help my the elderly neighbor make sure her grass is cut every day or every week to where it's not overgrown. Or I'm gonna even go as far as to report the house on my block that's been vacant for 10 years because I'm tired of seeing people run in and out of it. Just some of the basic things you can do. I'm going to galvanize my sorority or my fraternity to help with the next neighborhood cleanup. Because when you clean and green a vacant lot, you can reduce crime by 21%.
Mm-hmm.
That's lives saved in our community.
The broken window theory. Back in college.
But it's real. You know we've seen that on North 24th Street?
It definitely.
That homicide rate is now down by 75% since 2021 because of some of those basic mechanisms. And again, that's life saved. That's our community.
24th Street looks like, especially in the wintertime, it just looks so beautiful the way it's lit up and everything. And I can imagine, like when my mom was coming up and my aunties and them, that it was similar to that. But of course, over the course of the years, got negative press and, 24th Street, people go, oh no, I won't go on 24th Street. Things like that. But 24th Street is very, very nice. I saw Precious after Bud Crawford. Congratulations to the champ. You did that.
Yes.
You did that, champ. I saw her picking up, got up at 7 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, and just picking up because people didn't use the recyclable, trash cans.
I appreciate that.
But she got up and said, I don't want to hear anybody. I don't want to.
She don't want to hear my mouth.
Right. She don't want to hear you. She don't want to hear the pastors. And I said, yeah, I drove past to go to church and it was that beer bottle. So, that lets people know that you care about the community. So
it does. I didn't know that, but I appreciate thinking about our neighbors.
Mm-hmm,
and actually, Chantella, I really believe that that's another thing that's going to bring our community back to how it was when our parents and our grandparents were living here, is that community respect. So I appreciate that. Can I tell you, 30th Street, and I think this is happening not just in 30th Street, but I have had constituents call about loud noise meaning people driving down the street with their subs so loud. And oftentimes it's not that they're just driving through, but they're parking and
Mhm.
it's too loud for them to get a good night's sleep. It's too loud for um, them to work from home. And I'm really wanting to start a community conversation around it,
Mhm.
to just that respect level, right? To It's like by the time your music is that loud, you could hear it.
Right.
But does that
Exactly.
mean that grandma needs to hear it?
And it
Does that
actually
mean
sounds raggedy as hell when they have that music. It's like I'm like, it sounds horrible,
yeah.
horrible, and yeah. So I definitely understand
We
that.
have a lot of people moving back to their legacy homes, meaning that they had a family member who owned a home. Now they're moving back to it, but we've got to increase that quality of life. And so maybe that's something, Chantella, we can talk about in the future, not to reprimand people, but just to bring awareness,
Mhm.
that, hey,
Respect, bring respect. I mean,
bring respect. And you
bring
may think
respect.
there's nothing wrong with it, but somebody else is literally
Exactly.
being traumatized and can't sleep at night because you want to park at midnight on 30th Street and with 5 and 10 of your boys and
Right.
blast your music throughout the neighborhood. So I'm getting quality of life calls like that.
Mhm.
And really, this is the thing. People talk about over policing. So then the goal is really not to get the police involved. Then the goal is just for there to be a grassroots movement to say, we need to elevate respect in our neighborhoods.
I'm gonna tell you like this. I come in from a law enforcement background. When I was working at Douglas County Corrections, and we used to turn the TV off. So it's too loud in here. Officers, you say, I'm turning the TV off. So everybody in the whole mod had to suffer because. So what I started doing, I said, well, I'm gonna hold each of y'all accountable for each other. So, Miss Thomas, if you too loud, if you hear Miss Wallace too loud, if you hear me, you tap them on the shoulder and say, you need to quiet down.
Right.
Sergeant Wallace is about to turn this TV off. We won't have TV for the rest of the day. So I think that collectively as a community,
Yes.
getting everybody involved and saying, hey, neighbor, yeah, like your son, tell him to turn that music down when it's parked. When he leave here, he can play the music however he want while he's driving down the street. But hey, in the parking lot, just ask him to turn it down. I don't
Right.
think there's anything wrong with that. Everybody holding because that area is beautiful. Let's keep it beautiful. They spent a lot of money revamping that area, and I mean, it's some people over there paying almost $2,000 a month for rent, and they're not trying
Mm,
to hear that.
right.
They like, I ain't trying to be a bugaboo, a pain in the butt, or nothing like that. But yet, and still, I pay to live here, and I want to be able to live peacefully.
Yeah. So there's a question: is there not a noise ordinance at a certain time of night? So I think there is bringing awareness to that, but to enforce that um, means you do get the police involved. And I'll also say this: it doesn't have a lot of teeth. I was just talking to our attorney yesterday, and he said that noise ordinance references boom boxes. So
Right,
that
right.
just
So
so that
how
just
that
tells
is.
you how
Do the
old
right
the
thing. Look,
language
do the right
is.
thing.
But
Radio right.
also, right, literally do the right thing. But also, I am sensitive to the fact that police involvement in our community can always be very sensitive.
Very.
And don't get me wrong, they are here for a reason and they have a job. But I do believe that if we begin to police ourselves through the
Right.
very thing that just Miss Chantella said, that's going to be more effective,
It definitely will.
right? We went through a period in our communities where it was stop and frisk over speeding or a tail light. So don't get me wrong, an ordinance is a tool. It's a tool we can use at the city. So don't call me a hypocrite if in 6 months you see that we're revising that. But I'd rather bring awareness today to start having these conversations
Exactly.
with the neighbor, with our sons,
Mhm.
with our nephews, our grandkids, so that there's just, again, we can police ourselves, even
Exactly.
if we do upgrade the ordinance.
Now, do
Um,
you know if they have meetings? Because the complex, my sister was one of the first residents over there in the first building that was officially
which area are you talking about?
in the Highland area.
Oh, the Highlander.
Yeah, the Highlander area. So is that do they have meetings like meetings up there where because I think holding people accountable and meetings, I think that that would be a good way like tenant meetings and stuff like that to communicate that neighborhood meetings to communicate that let's be conscious of all of our behavior, our families, our visitors and stuff like that. Just to keep because policing ourselves is going to be more safer than policing us and I just think that it would be a better outcome if things like that meetings are had, are had, and people are actually say, hey, I'm not coming to you saying, hey, yeah, your son played that loud music, and I say, hey, Miss Goodwin, yeah, the other night I was up, I said, is that Cutlass your grandson? Oh yeah, well, can you just ask him to turn that music down? At a
Right,
certain time, people are sleeping, people work over here.
right. And that, I mean, I could tell you that I would have her reach out to their offices, because, meaning, it is there a neighborhood association, is there a neighborhood conversation happening, right?
Hmm.
And maybe even being willing to spearhead something. I also think we need to talk about the response in that manner. So if somebody does just say, hey, excuse me, that we ain't cussing them out, you know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because then that creates a situation that I actually think there's fear regarding that, right? That people
Right.
aren't so quick to just want to say that. And that's why I'm using this platform. And I want to challenge you again, not to go walking up to a stranger's car,
Right.
but maybe have this conversation with your son or daughter who just got their driver's license, or your
Mhm.
grandson, or niece or nephew, because those are safer conversations,
Right.
and yet I do advocate in neighborhood building, getting to know your neighbors, because
Mhm.
that's how you create community. When Dan and I moved back to North 18th Street, it was like, number one, he grew up here. My grandfather's house was down the street. So there was a lot of connectivity. But for our new neighbors, we were like, we're getting to know them,
Right.
because then you can have that conversation, and it ain't just I'm coming to complain, but I'm coming to say hi. I'm
Right.
coming to
Right.
introduce myself. I'm coming to offer you some tomatoes from my garden. Like, we've got to rebuild neighborhoods, just from that. Listen, that basic. Can I borrow a cup of sugar?
Right.
That's how we grew up, right?
Exactly.
But you weren't a stranger.
Right. We knew all of our neighbors back then. When I first moved in this house, my grandmother had 15 kids, so our family is
Mm,
huge. Every one of her kids got at least two kids,
right.
and some got five, six, seven, and eight of them. So we have a huge family. The Coleman family is huge. So when I first moved over here, like I entertain a lot. I got a pergola put up on the side of my house, but when I first, the first thing that we had, I went to my neighbors. I knocked on their door. I said, "Hey, my family be over here. We're to have music outside and stuff like that." I said, "Do you guys eat ribs?" And it's like, "Yeah, we eat ribs." I said, "Oh, well, I'm gonna bring you guys a plate." I went to like the three houses that would definitely
Right.
be in noise length of hearing,
Right.
hearing what was going on, so it was really be like when you have another family gathering. So that's how I broke the ice with them because I was at
Right.
my other house for 18 years, and so I moved in a new neighborhood, and I'm like, okay, so and just doing that, and that's just they've never called the police, never said nothing. We feed the people, we let them know, hey, we might be out here, we might be a little loud.
Sure.
If it gets too late, just let us know. I say flick your light on. I tell them, hey, it's time to go. So
Right,
yeah,
right, right. The people respect that,
yeah.
because you're respecting them. Listen, nobody's saying you can't entertain your family every now and then. Because look, I'll let you entertain yours. Because when I entertain mine, you get it. That communication goes a long way. That's what neighbors do. But let me ask you. So, do you live in District Two?
Yes, ma'am. I
I
live
did
on.
not know that.
Yes, yes. I live in District 2, across the street from Central Park School.
Okay,
elementary
I got
school.
you.
Yes.
All right. All right,
Yes,
that's
I have
awesome.
always lived in District 2. I bought my first house off of 34th and Meredith Avenue. My first rental property was across the street from where I live at now on Fontaine Boulevard. And then I've only lived in 4 different places. So thank you,
Yeah,
Jesus. I hate moving. I hate
right.
it. So I've only lived in four since I've been out on my own since I was 19. I've lived in 4 different residences. So lived in one residence for 18 years. I've been here for 16 years.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. No, my husband went to Central Park, so he knows that neighborhood pretty
Hmm.
well. But and I don't know why I didn't know that you lived in District 2. It might have just been with the campaign and all that, that it just was something that I wasn't being connected with. And I also might have thought that, whereas you were talking with all of the various candidates, that, you were talking about your favorite candidate from the lens of a spokesperson, a talk show person versus, oh, I'm a constituent. So
Yes,
I
yes.
might have lost that information somewhere, but that's awesome. So we
Yep.
can activate your neighborhood for cleanup.
Yes, yes, yes,
Even
yes,
if,
yes.
listen, even if all you're doing is inviting people, because I get it. There's a point where we need to pass the torch,
Exactly.
but how do we activate our block? How do we take that eyesore situation? Because there's too many in my district. That's one of the things that my colleagues have said on the council. We realize there are certain issues that are more prominent in District 2 than there are anywhere else in the city. I want to change that, but I need everyone's help. I really do. I really do. Yes. So
Yes, yes,
thank you
yes.
so much for this. Now, we are not doing this event on this Saturday
Okay.
because of the Bud Crawford parade. Now
Oh,
you
yes, yes, yes.
agree? Yes, but this is still the flyer because we will be doing the 25th. So I really appreciate.
October 25th.
Yes, and we'll get that new flyer updated. As a matter of fact, I can try to do that right when I get off of the phone here. But yeah, once we found out that the parade was happening, it was like, nah, we
Yeah,
got to
yeah. We
celebrate
we we we
this.
gonna have to prioritize. We gotta
Oh,
get the champ in here. The
look,
champ is
like, do
here.
you think anybody would be at this cleanup?
No.
No, I mean, come on, and I wasn't gonna be there, so
All right.
that
It
was
would have been a
easy.
wasted resource. So you are, and that was
Exactly.
a good decision. So anyway, I just want to talk to you guys about this. This is a council person. Goodwin sent this to me a couple of weeks ago. I have talked about this every week on my show
Thank
since you
you.
sent it to me about the cleanup. So even though it's not this Saturday, let the people know a little bit about what's going on with the volunteer community
This
cleanup.
is the community cleanup challenge we started a lot of years ago in the at the Global Leadership Group Community Garden, where that's really our hub now. And again, as a council person, knowing I serve every place from downtown to Carter Lake to the heart of North Omaha, all the way to Minnelusa, we got to get other neighborhoods involved. But we want to keep these same dates just because it just makes sense, right? So we ask people just simply get involved, right? Pick up trash, recycle, compost, clean up a vacant lot, help a yard. The real goal is to make it viral with this hashtag community cleanup challenge so that we can see that collective impact.
Mhm.
It's almost kind of like when you finally get a chance to, clean up that closet or, get that spring cleaning
Right.
in. It makes you feel good. And as much as we might see, well, North Omaha needs so much. It needs grocery stores. It needs something to do. It needs affordable housing. It needs safer neighborhoods. This is where you start. Believe it or not, this is where you start with the activities we started on 24th and Spencer. We've raised $15 million in infrastructure money for sidewalks, and we will see those projects come through. Have an update in October about that, but I don't want to get too far into it.
Right.
Streetscapes, facade improvement. We just closed that grant this week, so we'll be doing the process of choosing the grant recipient so they can give their businesses a facelift. But guess what? You might say, I don't have any money. I don't know where to start. Plug in here
Hmm.
to beautify your neighborhood. to help a neighbor, because that's how we lift up North Omaha again. I always say it wasn't that we had money 40, 50 years ago. It's we had pride in where we lived.
Right, right.
Okay. It was not, yeah.
Definitely. I just want to just say thank you for. I definitely wanted to share that because I've been sharing that flyer for the past few weeks when you sent it to me. Also, for
Thank
those
you.
of you, I had a friend that died. She had sickle cell.
I'm sorry.
They nabbed by a shooter. I believe she was like 21, 2021 when
Wow.
she passed. We were young. She was just wanted to have a baby so bad, and she wanted to be a mother. That was just her biggest desire, to be a mother, and she finally got pregnant. But she was very ill from sickle cell, and she ultimately passed along with her baby. It was basically a double funeral. The baby was in
I'm so
with her,
sorry.
so I was able to leave with her. This was years ago, but I just want to remind everybody that the sickle cell walk, I believe, is Saturday. Am I correct? Saturday.
I believe so. I saw
Saturday
those
the
signs.
27th, the 27th, I got a couple of signs in my yard. So just be conscious of things, especially when they primarily affect us as a people. Sickle cell is a disease. It's like leukemia, but it more 96% of sickle cell patients are African American people
Yeah.
of color. So that's definitely something. So let's keep in mind, people are still dealing with that. There is no cure for that. So let's keep in mind that some of the things that's going on, even with the Bud Crawford, the champ is here, even with that, but be cognizant of what's going on, other things that's going on in the North Omaha area. And sickle cell definitely affects us. So we
Yes.
definitely want to pay attention to things like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we just did a proclamation yesterday on Prostate Cancer Awareness Month too. And I don't know the name of the entity, but I do know. So I should say this first of all. Mount Calvary will be doing cancer screenings on Saturday as well. So
Okay.
you would have to go to their website to get that information, but they're going to be screening all types of cancer. And I believe I also shared the information on my Lavanya Goodwin for City Council website. So now's the time. A lot of these diseases, unlike sickle cell, but with cancer, there's a lot of things you can early detect, and you can actually, cure it just through early detection. And so with those screenings being clear, free, I hope that people will take advantage of those screenings. I also wanted to mention tomorrow I'm having a town hall at Mount Moriah Church at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Yes, and I will have. I think I put the flyer in your
I think I
messenger,
got it. Yep.
and I will have the planning department there. I will also be talking about really just some things coming up, mainly again, city service facing, okay, meaning, for instance, sand barrels and just different things that people want to know. How do I get this and how do I connect to this? We'll be talking about city services. I also want to hopefully do a poll because I want to find out some of the issues that are facing people in their various neighborhoods. What do you need from me? But then how can we do this work together? So definitely want to, make myself available, connect with the community, but also let the community connect with one another. So it should be a
Okay.
great meeting tomorrow.
Well, yeah, make sure. And this is the thing about us as a people, black people. I'm just gonna be honest, because y'all know I'm direct, and that's what I do. I'm known for that. Y'all wouldn't know me if I wasn't any other way. We don't show up. You look at the white people town halls, it's deep. They waiting outside for hours trying to get in. We have to start attending stuff like this, even if it's not a person of color who is spearheading the town hall. We have to start showing up to stuff like this. And I used to a lot when I was younger. I have to get back into that. Just like you said, councilwoman, councilperson, Goodwin, the older we get, the I don't know. It's a lot. So we don't have these 30-year-old legs like we used to. So getting the youth involved and things like that is very
Yeah,
important.
it's very important. Well, I'm here to work with you, especially now that I am reminded that you in the heart of district too.
Oh yes,
I'm
ma'am.
here to work with you. We need to make these next 4 years count. We need to identify the problems that we're willing to hone into. For me, it's city. Okay, so it's about the city because that's where I'm elected to serve at. It doesn't mean that some of my work doesn't intersect with the state, but it's the work of the city. How do we improve the quality of life for District 2? I'd said it before, you should not have to move west of 72nd Street to have a high quality of life.
Right.
And so that's what I want to do, but I need the partnership of District 2. And tomorrow we're going to be talking more about it. So
that is all right. So before we get out of here, you already know what we got to do. But the first thing we're going to do is shout out the people who have already been in here. Like I said, if you don't make a comment, I may not see you. We got John Gould, brother John Gould. We got
hello,
Emmy Johnson watching from Las Vegas. Karen Curry is watching from Denver. Miss Thomas is watching from Las Vegas. Vanessa Warren is a Delta who does enormous things she's in so many different things. I seen Tevin Bradshaw, my sister Pat Turner. Y'all already know because I know y'all waiting to get these raffle tickets. Now, sister Goodwin was waiting for me, y'all. I was late because I had another meeting that I thought was tomorrow, and I still got a meeting tomorrow. So I told her I was going to buy her lunch. But Sister Goodwin, this is a raffle ticket for our drawing tonight. Instead of buying you lunch, I'm going to buy you a raffle ticket. These are $20. Y'all know what time it is. These people is on here waiting for their name to get.
I don't know that I can participate in the raffle.
Why not? You can't?
I don't think it can. Any gambling or anything.
Well, I'm putting my name on here then.
You put your name on there. Girl, I got to
talk later. Look, we'll talk later.
We can talk later.
Here we go. Right here. So I still owe you lunch. Sister Deborah Foster won last week. Sister Deborah Foster won last week. She bought another ticket. We are pulling $100 every week for 15 weeks. Sister Foster, I wanted you to see me put your ticket in here, and you can win more than one. So if anybody is new on here, everybody on here already got a ticket. I see everybody that's on here. If anybody else wants a ticket, you have to let me know. Okay, so this is the time that we are going to pull a ticket. But before we pull a ticket, I'm gonna have my nephew pull it. We're gonna mix it up real good in here. So, Sister Goodwin, this is the time of the day when we are off of work. You ain't never off work because you're a council person. So, I mean, you get called off through the night. So this is the time. Now we know as Black people, we can't get smart and bump our gums to our parents. So we know, sometimes we say things in our head, but we will never let them come from our lips. Sometimes at work, you can't say what you want to say to your constituents. You can't say, oh my goodness, did she just say that? But this time, this is the end of the show. This is the time that you get to talk your shit. You get to say what you are sick and tired of. Go on to Councilwoman Goodwin and tell us what you are sick and tired of. And then I'm going to piggyback off of that and let y'all know what I'm sick and tired of.
Well, now y'all know I don't cuss. Like, for real, I don't. I've been delivered.
Well, good job. Good job. I'm working on it.
It was the Lord. No. I will say this, and yesterday at the council, as much as people came talking about the homeless, they addressed the council as if all of us had written that ordinance, and we didn't. That was Brinker Harding's ordinance, okay? And we got to be careful where we decide where we think people come from just because they know how to put on earrings and a suit jacket today. You know what I'm saying? And so I think I get tired of people judging by where they think you came from. And yesterday we heard a lot of that, like, well, since I think none of you understand what it's like to be homeless, you don't know what I understand.
Yeah,
you don't know what the people on this council have experienced, even if they might be on the opposing side. And so I did address that yesterday, but I do think that people have to know that you don't know where a person's been. You don't know where their family members been. You don't know the bootstraps they had to pull themselves up from, and so that's something that I'm like, you know what? Miss me with that, because you think I'm judging you. You might just be judging me.
Boom.
And I think we need to lay down judgment, right?
Boom.
And get to know the person for who they are versus the side of the fence that we sit on. And two things can be true at once in terms of the homeless situation. You can want to see it cleaned up and still have compassion for that person. It doesn't have to be and or, right? It really can be both at the same time. And so we do need to put solutions in place. And yet arrest is clearly not the answer, right?
Right.
I made it very clear I'm not voting for that. And yet when you've got something right outside your yard and it is affecting North Omaha
Mm-hmm.
more than what we've ever seen, we've got to think about the public safety. We got to think of the safety of those individuals. And so we're
Right.
going to have to do something. But to me, the judgment that was passed by even some of the people testifying was like, I don't have time to tell you my story, but I
Right.
bet you mine is deeper than yours.
Right.
I just don't lead with that. And I don't necessarily have time for the context of that. But and I know they were talking to more than just me, but if anything, that's what I would say, that you can't judge a book by the cover one way or the other.
Right. Because you don't know how those pages were written. You
Yep,
don't know how the cover was formed to be on the book, and
absolutely.
you don't know what it was binded by. So you
Thank you,
cannot
ma'am.
you cannot judge a book by its cover. I will piggyback on that with you, and I'm going to say I'm sick and tired of people complaining without action. I'm
Yeah.
sick and tired of people trying to throw their negative energy on me.
Ooh.
Please stop. I'm
Yeah.
not having it. I mean, it's so much you can take from a person that, even, I mean, with friends, it happens with friends all the time,
Yeah.
and just every time they call you is something negative. They take it,
Well,
they're taking your energy. See, I didn't
yeah.
used to be an energy person. My daughter Shiffy definitely brought me up on the energy. And she was like, Mama, you can just listen to. And I was like, you are right. This girl,
Yeah.
every time she called me, she talking about the same thing over and over and
Yeah.
just draining me. I'm tired as hell after I get off the phone
Yeah,
with you.
well, but
So
that's telling you something. So now I'm gonna turn it back at you. What you gonna do about
I have
it?
already taken care of it. Look, I have
Yeah,
already taken care of it. Conversations have minimized. And I did let the person know. I said, it's kind of that transference of energy. I definitely believe in that. And
yeah.
yeah, so it's kind of draining. And so yeah, that's what I mean. Quit complaining about stuff. If you're sick and tired of somebody, if you say this man is getting on my nerves, this woman is getting on my nerves, my kids are so lazy, they in my house, they don't do nothing. They grown. Get them out.
Right, right. But
They
people
do something
oftentimes
about it.
don't want to deal with the consequence of that either, right? Whether they're now lonely, whether now they might not have help sometimes,
Yeah.
whether they might not have, somebody to rub their feet against that night. You know all the things.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
but they do say this: some friends are there for a reason, some are there for a
For a
season.
season. Yes,
And I
ma'am.
also believe that some friends, when they're truly friends, they'll recycle back. They'll
Mm-hmm.
recycle back. But
Right.
those boundaries I've learned are what keep me sane.
Yeah.
And I probably will tell you. And don't get mad because I'm probably going to tell you first. I might not even tell anybody else, but I also don't think we're used to those conversations, Chantel.
Yeah.
I don't think we're used to saying, you know what, hey, that bothers me when you say that. I don't think it's funny. You're
Right.
supposed to laugh at it because everything ain't. And I love a good
Right.
joke.
Right.
You
My
know?
friend checked me, Miss Good. When my friend checked me one time, Fee Baby checked me. She was like, yeah, I don't. I was like, oh, and I've been doing it for years. And I said,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I said, I
Right.
didn't know. When she told me, I was like, I said, I'm sorry. I didn't know that you felt like that. But once she told me, I don't have to say, well, if I offended you, she just told me I offended her.
Well, that part.
So take accountability. I said, I'm sorry, because she's really a friend of mine. We've been friends for decades. So I was like, I gotta, she's like, well, no, I don't want you to. I was like, no, I say, I apologize. I don't have a problem apologizing when I'm wrong. So now before we end this show, I got to give my Bow Down Award. The Bow Down Award is we're going to give you a Bow Down Award for your winning and for coming on the show and just being honest. You was
Thank
honest. You gave it to us raw. I really appreciate that. So bow down to
you.
Councilwoman Goodwin. So my Bow Down Award this month is going to Mayor John Ewing. So
Yay.
when I yes, see, I was supposed to have all my stuff together. I was good. The applause would have been on there and everything. I didn't get it together. I have it together next time you come on here. But I went to Italy for 12 days, for two
Oh,
weeks.
wow. My
So when I
daughter was in France for 10 days.
oh,
So,
it's so lovely. I was disconnected. Y'all just don't know. I was disconnected from social media, from calling people. It was amazing. I'm not gonna lie. It was amazing.
right.
But John Ewing, thank you, because I have lived here for 16 years, almost 17 years. This has been the raggediest street in the entire state of Nebraska. This is the raggediest street on dirt roads. I'd rather ride on a dirt road than ride down Grand Avenue. This street is so raggedy. When I left for Italy, no, when I came back from Italy, so like when Stafford was the mayor, she had used pebbles and they'd take an iron and iron the things up, and then they'll just the holes up, and then the holes will just be right back up again.
Yeah.
I felt more stableness on a ship than I did running down my street, riding down my
Same.
street. So when I came back from Italy, the whole street was dug up. I said, "Ooh, wait!" I said, "They ain't just patching up, so they're not putting a band-aid on it." So then I went to San Diego. My auntie is on here from Vegas. I went to her, and she had an amazing celebration, her 70th. Shout out to Ida Johnson. So I went to her 70th, so I was gone for a week. So I'm watching my camera, then I see him with the excavators is out there. Boom, 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 boom. I said, they are really, so my
Yeah.
streets right now is like a smooth operator.
There
It
you
is
go.
smooth. It's a smooth.
Yay.
Shout out to Shiffy Blick and Bread for Smooth Operator. Y'all can listen to that music on any musical platform. But the whole street, my whole street for like 3, 4 blocks. And you know what that lets me know? She could have did that a long time ago.
Mm.
She could have
Hmm.
did that a long time ago,
Yeah.
and she did. So bow down, bow down,
Absolutely.
bow
Thank you.
down to
So
Mary
let me
Ewing.
tell you, the conversations I've had with our mayor have been, this is the issue. This is how I think we should solve it, or this is how I think we should bring this person or that person in the room. Let's do it. That's been his response. And so, we have a do something mayor. I do think we need to be keeping track of these wins, because you know what people try to do during election time. It's going to be something like, why did he do? Number one, he got day one, got our streets fixed, right? So that means everything right there. Mhm.
Is Sister Goodwin in here? Here. Okay, can you guys hear me? Come on, sign in on Facebook, see if you can see me, or YouTube. I have no idea. This has never happened. This has never happened, you guys. Stay with me because we have to pull the name. Restream. Hold on, let me get in here. I'm gonna try to log back in on the computer. I have no idea what happened. Let's see. Okay, let me. Yeah, log in and see if you see me on the book. I am sorry, everybody. I see y'all still on here, so I'm on here, but I do not know why. Yeah, just see if I'm on Facebook, and then I'll go ahead and pull the names. Sister Goodwin, I am so sorry. This is a touch screen. Let me get out. I don't know what's going on with this computer. I thought you said go to your live on. Go to my live on Facebook. Oh, okay, not YouTube. Okay. Because I'm gonna have my nephew pull the name. Wow. This, let me see. This is a touch screen. Oh, the touch screen ain't even working. I have no idea what happened. But anyway, I need somebody to let me know if you guys can see me. I mean, if you guys can hear and see me. Um, Let me put the comments on here. Okay, you can see and hear me. Okay, so I apologize. I don't know what happened. The screen, let me show y'all the screen. The screen just went blank. I have no idea what happened. But y'all know I always have a backup. So the backup is here to go. So okay, I can see and hear you. Okay, thank you. I have to call Sister Vonnie and tell her I apologize. So this is Damone. This is my nephew. Get in here. So y'all will see I'm not pulling. Take your glove off. Okay, so for those of y'all, hopefully it's one of y'all watchers, that faithful watcher. Okay, Damone, dig your hand in there, turn it. Oh, I guess my computer restarted, y'all. Whoever this is. Who is this? Linda Brown. So your home girl, Linda Brown from Roof Chapter number 9. Linda, that is my dog. Linda, okay. Hey, I was at a meeting with Linda today. I was at a meeting with Linda today. That's why I was late. I was at a meeting with Linda today, and she said, "When y'all gonna pull my name?" So guess what? After your name gets pulled, it goes back in there. Mm-hmm. Hey, Sister Charlene, how you doing? Uh-oh, get that. Okay, y'all, we gonna call Sister Brown. Okay, give me your phone. Oh, no, 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 no. Where my other phone at? Call the bat line, Booty, or go get Mama phone. Go get Mama phone for me. Oh, I got some food for Mama too. Let's call Sister Brown and let her know. I'm gonna call her and ask her. I'm gonna say, Sister Brown, did you leave a tip at the restaurant? She's gonna be like, what? I'm saying, well, you got some money now to leave a tip. Oh my goodness, y'all. I can't believe that the call Linda Brown. Calling Linda Brown. Okay, let's see. Linda is from Roof Chapter, so this is our first Roof Chapter one. Hello. Hey, did you get to jump on the show? Sister Good One was real good on. We just got home. I'm fixing to get on there now. Oh, you finna get on there now. Were you able to leave a tip at the restaurant? Yeah. Okay, well, in case you didn't, you definitely can now, because guess what? Guess who was the winner today on the 1520 raffle, the 2015 raffle? You were, Sister Brown. What did you say? Look, Sarita just came on talking about congratulations. What did you just say when we was at our meeting today? Well, your favorite, my nephew Damone pulled it. So please let me know how you would want to get paid. We have Zelle, PayPal, Cash App, and Cash, of course. Cash snap you, cash sniggle. Yes, Lord, I'm gonna go through the whole dance. Hallelujah. All right. Well, your name went back in the drawing. Congratulations and thank you for supporting, always supporting. We appreciate you. Roof Chapter number 9. Roof, 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 roof. All right, I will cash app you when I get off. Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. I love her. Okay, so I had a few subjects to talk about, but Sister Goodwin, that was a good interview. I just like how raw she was. She was real. She was honest. I want to shout out Sister Charmaine Morton. She sold the most tickets this week. Shout out to her. She's a beast. She is a beast. She is a beast. Thank you, guys. Thank you for supporting this. Y'all just don't know how much this means to us. We know everybody is doing fundraisers and things like that. We do so much work with Amaranthus Grand Chapter. We do so many good things in our community. Some things that we'll never even be noticed or recognized for. But without you guys, we wouldn't be able to foster these fundraisers. I got a headache basket going on. So I finally get to sell my stuff, y'all. Let me show y'all my headache basket. I've been putting it off, putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. So you know how when I first came to the Eastern Stars and they had a headache basket, girl, they basket had a whole bunch of airplanes in it. This how we roll. This how we roll. This how we roll. Tickets are $5 each or five for $20. This is how we roll. You know you're gonna need these. You know you're gonna need these wipes. You know you're gonna need these Tums. You know you're gonna need these antacids. And we got you some aspirin for that good old hangover headache. Some good old what is this? Sleep nighttime. And we got some gas relief. We got some toothpaste. And for y'all women, we got some little coochie coochie. Get the freshness, freshness. Stay fresh, stay fresh, stay fresh. So tickets are $5 each or five for 25. Let me know if you want tickets. Anyway, again, thank you guys and thank you. I want y'all to forget those of you who enjoyed the interview. Can you please send console person Goodwin just a note and tell her thank you for coming on the show. And don't forget the cleanup. Don't forget Bud Crawford's concert is Bud Crawford's parade is Saturday, the 27th. My birthday is Friday, the 26th, y'all. I will be 58 years old. Not many of you knew that. And also, cleanup is October 25th, and the Sickle Cell Watch walk is the 27th of September. You can also donate. Go online. If one of my researchers, I got Serena, Lashandra isn't on here, Serena and Vanessa, if you guys could put some information about the Sickle Cell Watch, the Crawford Parade, just throw a link in there for the people and also for the cancer screening at Mount Calvary Church this weekend. Again, y'all already know what time it is. You have been tuned in to the hottest podcast in the Midwest, the only podcast that shouts you out in real time. You already know. Thank you, Sister Ida Johnson. Before you go to sleep, you got to do what? Blah, blah, blah. Stay woke, and we are out of here. Have a good day.